Hi, everybody. Kendall and Chris here. And we were just having a coffee talk this morning. And Chris, in his beautiful way, always inviting me to share our conversations with others. And I'm hesitant to do that in some ways, but absolutely, I love showing up for different edges of life, and so he's been pushing me to have more of our conversations online and real and in real life and in real time.
Thank you. I just need to take a breath there. And I welcome this opportunity. And I am so grateful that you're open to it in this capacity and that I can be coming from a place that feels really good about this in how I support you and how that
Hmm.
supports myself and how that just brings joy all the way around, especially to my little kid
Hmm.
who's
Yay.
always alive in all of us somewhere, even if it's way deep down inside, which where mine got stuck a little while ago. We'll define the little while some other time. But yes, so what's important for you right now? What's coming to mind?
Hmm. Well, what's important is here we are. It's the Saturday after election 2024, and we're just noticing how things are starting to shift already in our country, how some of the divisions that might have been there might be getting exasperated now. And what I had said to Chris this morning that is important to me is, and again, this, it may be too soon, to talk about this, but I'm willing to push this edge, is a new vision for American men and American boys, and of course all over the world, all over, right? It's not just the US that we're starting to see some really entrenched behavior that has been supported and flamed, to that actually causes not only more division, which some people might enjoy, some people might like that. Maybe they grew up with a lot of division, and so they purposefully create it so that they can have more of that because that's what they're used to. And where I'm coming from today is it's just a new vision that includes men being emotionally healthy. And again, we're going to get to all the parts about women and our opportunity and our work. There's all sorts of conversations going on, but today I just want to talk about boys and men and creating a new vision for them that includes them being vibrant and healthy and engaging and interested in women, interested in their own manifesting a brighter future for themselves. And I feel like they've been sold a bill of goods that says this is how you get what you want, is you take it and you demean it, and you demand from it, and you crush it if you have to, right? This whole dominion over others is supposed to feel so good. But what we've known for so long, and anybody who's in the mental health community or healing community or coaching community or personal development, doesn't even matter any of those, but personal development shows us that if we want a brighter future, we have to start within. And we have to start with getting a true and meaningful purpose for ourselves. We need to then begin the process of identifying how we're feeling. We are emotional beings. And so we don't want to necessarily react on our emotions right away. So teaching boys and men that just because you think something doesn't mean you have to act upon it. Just because you think something doesn't mean you have to say it out loud, because once those words leave our mouth, they go out into the universe and say, "Get me more of this." And so if the language is including demeaning people or diminishing people or separating people, then what's going to happen is the person who is saying that, in this case, boys or men, are going to get a lot more of that back. So if you're putting out hate, you're going to get a lot of hate back. If you're putting out a lot of, we need to be powerful and demand and controlling and taunting to get our way, then what we get is a lot of that back. And so I'm just here because I want to take a stand that men and boys deserve better, that men and boys are no different than women in that we want to be heard, we want to be seen, we want our ideas to benefit others and ourselves, but to come forward from a place of service is what I'm interested in. How about you?
I think that that's beautiful, and I like what you've expressed, and especially that right now it's just about this label of men and boys, and we will address other labels later. But the bottom line is everything you said is spot on. And what do we need to get through these points is learning, a like you said, like forgiving ourselves. Like I have and continually forgive myself for
Mm.
who I am today, for why I am where I am today, because I've been conditioned this way, right? There was a point in time I blamed other people, right? But the fact of the matter is, every single one of us has been impacted uh, and conditioned throughout centuries. Like, this isn't something new that's just our generation. Like, some of my beliefs come from 7 generations ago. And if we're going to listen to anything, we start with ourselves. We start with what makes our little kid happy. And this, this, like our language is important. Like
Yeah, I
I
think
I
that's
I want unity in our community. I want love. And so yeah, so I'd like to hear a little bit more from you. If I did first, did I answer your question?
yeah.
And what else would you like to share so I don't take up all the air?
Well, that's so important right there, right? Like learning to share the oxygen is a great first step for boys and men. And again, we're just talking about boys and men today, so that's why I can go at this directly. Sharing the oxygen is super important. Being aware of when you're filling the space with your own words and not letting any other words come in. So this is a great thing that anybody at any age can do, right? Throw it back over to the other person. It's a conversation.
It's empowering, right? It's two little letters. Instead of being powering, we empower when we allow
Mm,
other people to speak. When I listen, I allow other people to speak. I
mm,
hear what they have to say. I hear them sometimes struggling to put the words together or to figure out how to use a hammer. But they deserve the beauty of smashing their thumb. I've done it. And that's because some people let me hit my thumb because I wouldn't listen how to use a hammer, right? Basic things. But when I listen to other people and I listen to a wide variety of other people, and right now, let's just say men listening to women, we don't even need to get into color and ethnicity and ability. And like, when I listen,
mm.
I hear. When I hear, I learn. And when I learn, everybody in my proximity learns as well. And it's become amazing to me how much other people can learn when I STFU.
And I think that's so important. I mean, here today, we're just kind of giving what I would say my three favorite tips that I use to empower women. And that is number one, to really be clear about the language we are using is creating our life. So
Language.
if you're putting out love, expect love back. If you're putting out anything else, then expect that back. That's the law of the universe. It's called the law of attraction. You can look it up anywhere. It's just basically how the laws of the universe work. So first is language. Second is what Chris just brought up, which is listening and empowered listening, which means, oh, simple thing. I've been talking too much. I want to pass it over to my co-facilitator. I want to pass it over to the person that I'm talking with. What about you? What lights you up? And then third is this next explored area, which actually is not that explored, really beyond personal development systems, which is how to make amends. Because what we were talking about this morning is, yes, there's all these atrocities that are happening to women right now, but we're also forgetting about the people who are causing those atrocities and that they have to live with the shame of what they've done in silence. And this is where people could get upset with me right now, but I'm going to ask you to lean into this conversation that my life started to change when I could clean up the wreckage of my past. When I could look people in the eye and say, I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm sorry for hurting you. What can I do right now to make it up for you? As you know, I definitely pushed the limits of darkness in my teenage years. And I had some making up to do. I had some apologizing to do. I had some cleaning up to do. So I went and I created a list of all the people I had harmed and the things that I had done. And I was not proud of those things, but I stood there in front of those people. I said what I did, and I said, I'm willing to go to any lengths to repair this with you. That is how we release shame. That is how we release that feeling of I'm a mistake. And my fear is that there are so many young men and boys and men out there who are walking around feeling like they can't share the mistakes they've made because they are terrified of being laughed at, being mocked, being called a wussy, being called a pussy, or even much worse. But I tell you right now, I stand to you to say, I have cleaned up my past. I clean up the wreckage of my past. And it feels so good. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. That is the path to forgiveness. And when we make those amends, when we clear up that wreckage, we can say to ourselves, I now forgive myself for judging myself for all of those years. I release this. I forgive myself for judging myself for what I did in the past. And I stand today as a healed and an aligned woman slash man slash fill in the blank. And I'm ready to start anew. We can do that. And I just hold this path. I hold this bright light, this place that that we can all heal, women and men. How about you, hon? You were talking about amends that you made this morning.
Wow, that's awesome. And just real quickly, can you repeat the three things for me? Was it
You got it. You go
love
ahead.
language, and was it love language we use, and forgiving ourselves and others?
Well, more
Or
specifically, just to put a finer point on it, in this, what I'm trying to teach today is about the language that we use creates our life. That's one. Two is empowering higher levels of listening for success and engagement with our female comrades, I guess, um, or just higher listening, higher levels of listening. And third is making amends and cleaning up the wreckage of our past.
yes. And so I understand where a lot of this is coming from, and that is because I myself have done this. I've been bullied. I've been a bully. I've made sexual innuendo. I've done things that have made other people uncomfortable, not heard, basically not safe.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry. And one of those was as a kid in a restaurant. I destroyed a cake of somebody's. And about 10 years ago, I reached out and I bought a gift certificate, gave it to this person, and apologized for what I did. And it felt so good. They may or may not have remembered what I had done, but I did. That disease lived inside of me. And until I was able to acknowledge it and let it go, it had eaten me up, just like a lot of other items that I've, like you almost died. My bottom was I divorce. I wanted to be a better human being, just so many things. But
Mm.
forgiving myself was the ultimate reward. And honestly, it's when my little kids started to say, hey, whoa, yeah, this is cool. What else can we do?
Yeah, it does
and
feel
and
good,
and
doesn't it?
it does. And there was a release, because you've said this line before: no matter what, we all know the difference between good and bad. And at some point in time, I remember as a little kid, I did something that I thought was good, but got admonished for it being bad, and I was confused and I didn't know why. Now I'm understanding that was somebody else's
Oops, somehow I
conditioning.
lost your sound.
Okay.
Hold
How about now?
on.
How about now?
So I am not getting your sound. Don't
Let
know.
me.
There we go. Whatever you just did.
Okay, you still there?
Yep.
So yeah, so at some point, as a kid, we do things as kids. We're having fun, you know, learning to walk, learning to talk, and then all of a sudden, at some point in time, it's like, shut up, sit down, listen, do this, do, and it's like, whoa, my little kid was just expanding, and now it's like, I don't know what I should do. I'm scared.
Mm.
I'm scared,
Mhm.
and that can come from so many different places as a kid, and so the little kid shuts down, and then stops creating their fun life. And so with each item that I forgive myself for and that I make amends to other people for, my little kid, just the creativity is coming back, the joy of that is coming back. And it's saying, yes, I want to use language that is uplifting. I want to be inclusive, because when I had the most fun in the sandbox, it was when I had all different friends there, new ways to drive a truck in the sand, new ways to make puddles at the beach, whatever. But it came from a group think. And I'm just right now, I'm just very glad to be here. I see nothing but great opportunity going forward as we learn to embrace a better way.
Yeah, so thank you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for interviewing me. I was reluctant to do this and put these ideas out there, but I'm so glad we did, and I hope it resonates with someone out there, with those of you listening. And if you'd like some skills, some tools for boys and men, reach out. I'm not really
Follow
sure.
us.
Yeah, follow us. That would be the best thing I could recommend. And then find people, find coaches, find people who watch anything you can for free. Go to the library and check books out. There are so many great books out there on personal development, on self-help, on mental health, on emotional intelligence, on how to decide, how to determine your emotions, which is one of the most important things we can learn. The difference between sad and mad and ashamed and afraid and hurt and glad. These are all emotions that we vacillate throughout the day. It's totally normal, but the key is not acting on them. And so that's our message today. Use language that uplifts, listen in deeply, and make amends wherever you can, because to Chris's point, it's absolutely the greatest feeling in the world when you can say, I screwed up. How can I make this right? You're important to me. I was a whatever, and how do we go forward? And that's what's going to heal the world. So thank you. Thanks for joining. Any final words, Chris?
Yes, that was beautiful. And what I would like to add, this has helped me the most, is that when I think of something, I now take, I try to take, because I'm cultivating the habit, that's lifelong. I try to take a breath before I speak or before I act. And in that inhale, I think about it. And in the
Mm.
exhale, I think and respond with what is going to bring me joy and happiness and love with this. And if it's not, then I keep my mouth shut. I mind my own business and I move on. And if it's something that makes me feel alive and joyous, I proceed. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Follow us for more. Take care.
Woo!
Woo woo.